Nice. How do you
Three
got 10
people are
minutes?
watching
There you
right now.
go. Nice. That's three more than I was expecting, so that works out.
Well, someone's watching. I don't know. So, hey, everybody, this is Keeping Tabs with Ron Jackson.
Like
So,
it.
my new podcast, and this is our debut today, and we actually have a new graphic and everything for this podcast. So, our first guest today is my good friend and one of my students, and Mr. Jesse Hartstein.
Yep.
That's how you say your name? Making sure.
Of course. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
Jesse, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be the first guest on the new podcast. Excited.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, this sounds like, wow, man. It sounds like, hey guys, what are you guys doing? What are you doing on stage here? You guys don't sound like radio interview guys. The mics everywhere.
Yeah.
My
Well,
mic's like hanging out. I'm just
it's
trying to
still
play.
we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
We're working
No,
out
it's
the
also
kinks.
like, we have to play. I had to play like the theme song on my 7-string guitar, which is hard enough. And
Well, yeah. Well, next episode you could maybe record that and get like an announcer or something.
no, yeah, but I'd rather
Like
play
a late
live
night
actually.
show. Yeah. No, it's cool.
And
Get like a late night announcer or something.
yeah, I should do that. It's funny because I've been, I go live a lot actually, and I decided, I have to do something that actually has, that gives back to my, my students and all the people that, support me and that people I help actually. So I decided to do something like this, because I see a lot of people doing these kind of podcasts, and they talk to everybody who's famous. But you should talk to people who are not famous too. People who are trying to learn the instrument or trying to, or up and coming musicians. Like you have your own band. Tell us about yourself a little bit, Jesse, and how tell us how you found me actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I live in Brooklyn, obviously, as you know. I'm trying to remember exactly how I found you. I think it was just through, I don't want to say targeted ads, or maybe just like through like Instagram, kind of like recommendation.
Did you find me through my book? This book, through Acoustic Guitar Magazine? I thought. Did you find me through
Could have been. I think I found you on, or maybe saw you on Instagram a bunch. And then I think I bought the Acoustic Guitar Magazine, the first show I came to. Yeah.
So you met me through social media.
Yeah, well, at least I saw you through there, and I think I can't remember exactly how it worked out. I think I just saw you on there, and then I saw you were playing at Zinc Bar, in the West Village or wherever, and just came through to there. And I think we met after the show. I just came up and told you, on Instagram and all that, and then I bought the guitar lesson, which I'm still working on, the walking bass line lesson. Which is cool though. I think when I first bought it, I got pretty far with it, and I think I just kind of fell off from then. But and then I think we just talked.
You were talking about this book.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that one.
Yeah. So it's funny because I've met quite a few students. I write for this magazine called Acoustic Guitar. It's actually there's an article coming out in the next issue. I have a lesson coming out. So I've written at least 20 lessons, but they took some of my lessons and they put them in this book. I don't know if did we work on this book at all a little bit?
Not yet. We should though. We should go over that walking bass line lesson someday.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I pull it. I still have it here
I actually
somewhere.
have had students that study with me privately who've worked on that walking bass line thing.
Yeah, we should do that. Maybe
yeah,
later
we'll do that. We'll do that. And so what's really funny about this whole situation is that so Jesse came to see me play. I think you contacted me first or something. Then you came to see me play at the Zinc Bar in 2022.
It must have been like late 2022, maybe November, October, maybe.
Yeah, that was actually summer. I remember.
Oh, really?
August
so maybe
2022.
So maybe we started doing lessons way after, because I think we started I think from what I remember, we did the first lesson like November or something, and then
Yeah,
because I remember there's a big gap between that because we had like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all that stuff. So I think I did like one or two lessons in 2022, and then we picked it up
yeah,
early 2023. So it's been like
yeah.
almost like
So
a year and a half now, maybe a little bit more.
with me for a while, and what's interesting is like one of the things I like to adopt when we're playing is learning tunes.
Yeah,
You know, learning how to since we're doing jazz, we're working on jazz improv, and what's really interesting is we started working on how to play over chord changes,
yeah,
and
that was definitely the big thing I wanted to focus on. I don't remember really what sparked it. I mean, I think I've always like enjoyed listening to jazz guitar and stuff like that, but I never like went to any kind of like proper music school or any type
yeah.
of
So tell
lesson.
us about your background. You it's funny because a lot of my students, are musicians or want to be musicians. I have
Uh,
students of all age, or some don't want to be, or like our kids, But
yeah,
you, in your situation, you're one of the few people I teach that. Of course, there's some people like you, but who never ever studied really music ever. But you play the
yeah.
guitar. When did you start playing guitar? Actually.
I think I started like from what I remember when I was like 8 or 9. I think I could be wrong. It was sometime. It was really early on. I remember specifically like um, my dad played guitar like a little bit. I don't know if he even plays that much anymore. And either he had a book or like my brother's like 3 years older than me,
Uh huh.
had like some kind of like really like rudimentary guitar chord book sitting around the
Oh.
house. And I remember like one day I was bored and I like either my dad had this like like those Ovation acoustic guitars with like the
Oh yeah, I like
rounded back.
those.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he had
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those. Yeah, so I just went there and like learned all the chords, A, B, C, D, E, all that stuff. So I just did that. And I think just from
Cool.
then I just like kind of just self-taught pretty much using like ultimateguitar.com. I'm a big Tabs fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's funny. When I teach, um, so Jesse never, you never studied actual, reading
No,
notation.
except for
I,
like I took like a music theory class in college, but I honestly did pretty poorly in it.
hmm. Yeah. So, you know, um, when I teach primarily, it's all notation.
Hmm.
So, when I give Jesse some music, he doesn't look at the notes at all. You just look at the tabs. I'm like,
Yeah,
and then that's cool. I mean,
unfortunately.
it's nothing wrong with that actually. I mean, a lot of people learn like
No,
that.
I mean, at the end of the day, if it sounds good, I guess it's good, right? Like,
Exactly.
but I think obviously for like the younger students or people that are starting out, I think it's definitely good to learn that way. I think you just learn the relationship between the music and like your instrument a lot better, where you know
Uh,
where all the notes are.
Oh, on tabs, you mean?
No, no, on like notation.
Oh yeah. Well, notation is a whole different thing. I mean, you could read notes on a staff.
Uh huh.
Like, let's say you look at these notes here. Uh, like I teach a lot, so you can look at the notes right here on top,
Uh huh.
and you don't have to be able to play that. You can just know what the notes are. Now, but every instrument has a different way of playing notation. That's the whole thing on the guitar. If I want to play this string, like the E string, that's written on the staff on the fourth space, but it can be played here too, or here,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
here.
There's so many different
That's the
places.
difference. So it depends on the instrument, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's what's really cool about. So tabs tell you where to play the note actually, which is really
exactly.
good.
It's more like
But
specific.
on notation, you actually have to specify like you have to write numbers like string 3 or string 2, the E note, ninth
Hmm.
fret, etc. So that's the difference. And I think it's good to know how to do both actually in reality. So
Yeah,
sometimes
of course.
because if I watch a guy play or listen to him, I could hear him play this, but it could be this. It could be played like that, two
Yeah,
different ways. And so I don't know how he actually played. So tabs are really helpful for that. Yeah.
yeah.
So
I think it's
so
good for people that like are self-taught, like myself. Like it's just like it's more simple.
oh
Just
yeah,
tell you
yeah,
exactly where to go.
yeah. And most guitar players are notorious for not knowing how to read notes.
Yeah, and
Everybody.
I think
So
that was kind of the way I approached it. Basically for my whole time playing guitar is like it's kind of I don't want to say like anti music theory, but kind of like I didn't really care. I'm just like as long as it sounds good or you can make something
yeah, I don't think it
unique.
really.
No, I
in
mean, yeah, it's
reality,
good to have
if
though.
you play jazz, if I hear you play, I'm not gonna say, "Hey, can you read?" Reading's a skill. Reading is a
Yeah,
skill. So I mean, it's a good skill to have. But if you don't, if you don't know how to read, you got to have really good ears. I think
yeah,
you got to be able to find the notes on any instrument. So that's and
definitely.
you don't have to. You can be a great reader and not be a great jazz improviser, for example. You could because a lot of I'm not knocking classical musicians. That's what they do a lot. They read
Yeah, that's
and
definitely imperative to know how to read when it comes to like that type of music.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we work a lot on just so everybody know, a disclaimer. You know this podcast is for my patrons and my students and my fellow people that I collaborate with. And I'll invite them up. We're not inviting famous people up a lot. And we want people who are just like you know like Jesse who actually plays in a rock band. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah,
That involves some other people I know that Jesse
yeah,
introduced me to. And so so if you want to be on my podcast, my patrons or students, please let me know. Send me a DM. Also check out my Patreon. There's a Patreon. You could join for 7 days for free access, and I have a new Patreon referral program. Okay, I was telling Jesse about this. He was like, "Wow, this sounds exciting." So
yeah.
it's like if you join for a year from the $9 level up, you get 10% discount first on that. $9 up to like the $50 level, where you get a free half-hour lesson a month on the
That's
fifty
pretty
dollar
good.
level. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, just for being a patron. If you pay for a year in advance, you get 10% off, and you get a free half-hour lesson every time you recommend somebody. You don't have to be even a patron. If you recommend somebody, they join my Patreon, and they're a friend of yours, you get a free half-hour lesson. That's a $75 value.
It's pretty
Everybody,
good. Yeah,
yeah. Jesse's like,
it's a good
what? Let me
deal.
see who. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can get
maybe
my
I'll do
dog
that.
to join. You
Yeah,
want your
I'll see
dog
if
to join?
if
She's
she's
sitting right there
interested.
going. She's interested in
Yeah,
guitar lessons, huh? 7 string particularly, huh?
yeah,
Because she got seven
exactly.
paws.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, that's the disclaimer. So check out my new referral program at Patreon. You can see the link right there, www.patreon.com/Ron Jackson Music. So cool. So Jesse, so we were working. So we do a lot of transcription.
hmm.
Now it's very important in jazz. What's transcribing? What is transcribing to you, Jesse?
To me, it's just listening to songs by ear, and then I guess like proper transcribing would be kind of writing out the notation just from uh, you know just from listening to it by ear. That's what I would assume proper transcribing is. I'd say the way I've been doing it, at least, just because obviously I don't have the capacity to write notations, just kind of doing it, committing it to memory, but just by listening by ear.
Yeah. So another way of putting it is, the great jazz guitarist Wes Montgomery didn't know how to read, but he learned all the Charlie Christian solos. So they call that when
Yeah.
you learn everything without writing it down, which is actually literally music transcription, like notating all the rhythms, the
Hmm.
notes, at the right, the right octave, like this, not the E here, but the E here, maybe,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, so that's actual real transcription. But when you actually learn songs off of records, we call that taking off.
Oh, taking off.
Yeah, yeah, you take off the music and you learn it. You don't literally transcribe it and write it down. You do it by ear, and that's how I started playing actually. So I think it's a good skill to
Hmm.
actually do. Your skill is good too because you know, well, transcribing you have to have ears. You have to be able to feel
Yeah.
pitches and stuff like that. But taking off is actually you have to actually physically play along with the track to adapt it to your playing, and find the right notes, find where he's playing it on the guitar neck or whatever instrument you might be playing
Yeah.
on the piano, and that's called taking off. And that's an important skill too. It's good to do things by ear, actually, like that. You should be able to
Yeah.
do, in my opinion, you should be able to do all those different kinds of things. Um,
It's also
you
good
know, and
to like transcribe things that are done on another instrument to guitar because it's just the way it's
oh
played is so
yeah,
much different, and it's good to kind
yes,
of
yeah, like learning a
expand.
saxophone solo, a trumpet solo, a piano solo.
Yeah.
I used to have trumpet player friends when I was at Berkeley say, "Hey man, I learned this guitar line, man. It's really hard to play on the trumpet, because
Yeah.
he
Exactly.
was telling me these stories. I was like, because it's like we approach it a different way. So it's that's a really cool thing too, actually. So Jesse, you were working on a tune by Django Reinhardt. Tell us about it. Like
Yeah.
like so we yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we've been working on. Well, I started working on it. And we went over it last week on Django's Tiger, which I think. Look what the year this is from, but I think you said it's based off maybe something else, right? A different song, something Tiger, more like
Oh
standard
yeah, the Tiger Rag, I think, or
Tiger
something.
Rag, yeah, something like
You
that.
know, which I listen to Django, but I mean, I mean, obviously everybody's listened to Django, and I've actually
Yeah, of
tried to learn his
course.
solos and transcribed a little bit, but I'm not like a Django authority. But
Yeah, I would say
what I
like
do,
of all the guitar, because I would say like I listen to a lot of jazz guitar. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, honestly, not compared to some people. Because sometimes you go to some of these jam sessions and like you talk to people and they're like bringing up all these names that I've never even heard before. But
yeah,
yeah, Django, I don't think I ever really listened to as much before kind of getting into taking lessons with you, and I don't
yeah, because
really know exactly.
I don't think I recommended Django Reinhardt to
No,
you
I don't
actually.
remember exactly. I think it was because like I like the song Brazil a lot.
Oh yeah,
Just like the Yo Beam one, and
yeah, yeah.
I think I was just looking up guitar versions of that, and I found the Django one, and I learned that solo as well, which is a great one. So I just
Yeah,
like his style. I like the gypsy jazz stuff. I think it's cool. I've been watching like a lot of other gypsy
yeah,
jazz
those guys are
guitarists.
great.
They're
They
all. I
usually
mean,
play
it's
these
crazy.
acoustic guitars.
Well, that's the
They
thing.
play
They
all these.
play acoustic guitars, but they play so fast. I mean, not to say that other jazz guitars don't play as fast, but like the style of music is just interesting in that way, where it's so quick. Some of the songs are like
What's really
280
funny about
BPM or something like that.
those guitars? The strings are much thinner than mine. Like I use a 14. I think
Yeah,
they use tens, nines, tens. Like really strings that I couldn't play because they're too thin for me. But you can get a
yeah,
lot of speed with that and things
yeah.
like that.
That's crazy. Like some of the videos I've seen, these random guys like
But
mostly
I
I
mean,
was
Django,
primarily
you
European. Yeah, and
you
Django's
you,
insane
you,
as well.
you didn't know you did. I don't think you realized he only had two fingers he was playing. No.
Yeah, well, I learned that, and that's the funny thing is I'll do this solo in a little bit, but it's crazy to me
Yeah,
that he can
but
play that with two fingers,
Jesse actually has an
even with
interesting
four
technique. So
apart.
why don't you play something for us, Jesse? Why don't you play that
All
Django
right, yeah.
piece
So I'll
for us?
play. I'll play the Django's Tiger. So what I'm gonna do, because I mean, as we said before, you can hear the guitar, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
what I'll do, I have my loop pedal here. Let me just
Yeah.
do
Jesse's
that.
really good at the loop pedal. I'm terrible at the loop pedal. I just try to loop
Yeah,
everything when
I'll
I'm
do that
playing.
instead of. It's easier to than playing the backing track on the computer. So I'll do the chords first, and then I'll do the solo. Hopefully, don't mess it up
Cool.
too much. Let me just. I'm just gonna get the tempo. I'm gonna do it like a little bit slower than the record, just because it's a little challenging. But yeah, so this Django's Tiger. I think 1946 is the year it came out.
Okay.
But
Cool. Why don't you do this? You play the you gotta do the backing track. You gotta play solo. Then maybe take your own solo after too with your backing track.
I'll do the Django solo first, and then we can talk about it. We'll see. I don't
Okay.
know if I
Okay.
they might take it all out of me. Honestly, tough one. All right. Actually, let me shit. This is you can hear that well, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Messed up the end a little bit there, but
Wow, that was
did a good
great,
point.
man.
It's a
That's
tough
the
one.
whole.
Yeah, it's
That's great though. What I love about
yeah,
Jesse, he has really good ears and really big
yeah,
ears like mine. See, my ears are big.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what's good is that what I like about Jesse, I always talk about it. Everybody has their own style of playing, and Jesse really, for not being trained, like you ever had a guitar teacher before?
No,
Well, because the way Jesse plays, you play primarily with your, I know, with your first three fingers, no?
yeah, the pinky I'm getting better with. With
Yeah, but he does a lot with his. If you actually, Django did only play with two fingers, so he was incredible.
that
You
part
know,
specifically, I don't understand how he could have done with two fingers like this. Like I can't even understand how he did it.
yeah, he
I
could
get
do it.
it, maybe like
Yeah, you know why?
it's tough. Yeah.
He could do it. The thing is, your mind you could do those kind of patterns and actually playing if you put your mind to it. Actually, he had to because he had no other way of doing it. And those two fingers are really strong. So the pinky, well, the first and third finger are the strongest fingers. They say, then your second, and then your fourth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't know. I don't think it makes a difference as long as you could. You know, I remember I used to study with Melvin Sparks. Rest in peace, Melvin. He was one of my mentors, and he told me that your first three fingers are your strongest fingers, actually. You know.
The first three.
Yeah, yeah, and then your
Makes
pinky
sense.
is yeah, yeah. I mean, because you play great with those first three fingers, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
So
and that's definitely something I've improved on a lot since we started doing lessons, like using my pinky more and like keeping in position. Like something I would play like maybe like
yeah, yeah,
I play probably like back in the day.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
I used like the pinky.
Yeah, the pinky. It's good to use the pinky. I mean, especially if you do a lot of crazy chords like I do.
Yeah. Well, even with the gypsy jazz chords, they're kind of funny because they like they require you to kind of like bar a lot of
Yeah,
fingers a bit.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, Jesse. So one of the things I like to do with my students is and I tried. Actually, I haven't put this much on my, I haven't been doing a lot of transcriptions or writing them out. Is have them learn solos yourself, because if I do the work, you really gain nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the person that if you look at some of these solo even my lessons that I put in these books, I have a few books out on acoustic guitar, and those lessons are the person that learned the most out of those lessons were me, actually, because I actually wrote them out, so I'm the one who has the knowledge. And the thing is, the best way to learn how to transcribe everybody is to learn everything yourself. Try to, because that's how everybody really learned. You know what I mean? You have to do all the work.
Well, it's also like
when
you kind of learn these things just by ear, it's much different for the most part, like how you just would approach something. So just playing.
Yeah, because I mean, you told me like one issue I have with social media and YouTube and all that. A lot of people want to go on YouTube and learn things, then they wonder why they're not getting better, because it's like when you look at a video and you learn things back and forth, you're not really doing any work. You're not actually going to the recording and trying to find the notes yourself.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's how you actually improve, because you have to do the work. I mean, like even though I like to show people what I do when I'm performing, etc. I give a lot of stuff on my Patreon, and I give you a lot of notes, but you still have to do the work, actually. And so Jesse's learned a lot of great, cool solos, man, yourself by ear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good
For someone
ones.
who's in a different industry than music, and so tell us, before we finish up here soon, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, of course.
You're performing with a band, no?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because like I used to play, just to go back a little bit, like So I started playing guitar a lot in high school, and for some reason, never really. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I always felt like my school didn't really have like a strong musical program. And I'm sure some people.
Most schools don't actually.
Yeah, I think especially the last like I don't know, maybe 30, 40 years, they've been cutting a lot of programs like that. And I'm not saying that specifically happened to our school. It just, at least from what I could tell, it didn't feel like there was like a strong arts program as far as music went.
United States is notorious for not funding the arts.
Yeah,
We have to
100%.
fund it ourselves basically. And in
Yeah,
Europe, it's like I was reading something. Of course, I watch social media a lot. I saw like a comparison chart. Like Germany spends like I don't know how much per person. Well, United States, like they might spend $10 a person. In the United States,
yeah,
they spend 10 cents a person. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like
exactly.
crazy.
It's not
So
valued enough
yeah,
here. Yeah,
exactly.
so I mean, and not to like blame that specifically, but like I guess I just never really got it together in high school to like form like an actual band or like play with people. Like I have friends, that we would like jam every once in a while, but it'd usually just be kind of like messing around and making noise for a couple hours,
Yeah.
like in someone's garage or like in my basement back in the day. But then like in college, so actually I started playing drums when I was like 14 maybe,
Yeah.
and in college I was actually in like I was in two bands actually. So I was in one playing drums, which was a lot of fun. I'd say like drums was probably my primary instrument for like a while, just because it was like I just had more fun playing it. And then I also played bass
Oh
in a
wow.
band. Yeah, and that was in college. That may have actually been like right after college when I was still living upstate in Buffalo for like
You're a
a year.
multi instrumentalist.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, what's that? Yeah, so that leads to like, so the band I'm in now is it was started by my sister actually, my younger sister Sarah. So I think they kind of just started out as like a three piece with a drummer who he's no longer in the band. He moved
Mhm.
away at some point, so we had another drummer come in. But it was basically him and then Nick, who who's the guitarist in our band, who's another student of yours. Um,
I met Nick through you, and he became a student.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's
Yeah.
actually probably about a year before I started taking lessons with you. They formed, and they booked like a 2 hour show at this like brewery or bar up in Newburgh, New York.
Oh, Newburgh. I know Newburgh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I played up there recently.
Yeah, so I was like, how you guys gonna do like fill 2 hours with just the three of you? And she's like, I don't know. Like, she's just like, I don't know, we'll just wing it. So I'm like, if you want someone to play bass, I'll do it. And like, I've obviously, it's like, you probably, I think you actually play bass, like, or
I
like,
play bass too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So for
So
me, it's kind of just like, all right, I play guitar, like, I'll figure it out. Like, it's the same, the
so
bottom four
you
strings are
guys
the same.
you guys started. How long you been a band for? Like 3 years now.
Almost three. I would say our first show was in November something 2021. So like 2.5
Oh, cool.
years.
So you guys have a web. Tell us about the name of the band, and you have a website, or
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if we have a website. I don't think we do, but maybe we
you
do.
should. Oh wow,
Yeah, I don't think we
you
have
should
like an
know that from
actual. Maybe
hanging
we
out with
do.
me.
Honestly, I don't know. But I mean, I think mostly we just go through like the Instagram and stuff like that. But
Yeah, you have
the
to have a
band's called
website.
Monarch the band. I think it's Monarch the band NY. There's like a bunch of other Monarchs. One of them's like a French like heavy metal band, which is kind of funny. It's probably the exact opposite. But yeah, no, it's gone well. I mean, my sister's really been like the driving. Her and Nick, honestly, are kind of like the driving force as far as like the music itself, and then she obviously does all
Yeah, yeah.
the logistical work and like kind of getting the shows and like it's gone well. I mean, from between that show in Newburgh, which is some small
So
bar.
how many shows do you guys do a month or a week, or cause you do a lot of
Um,
shows?
yeah, there's a point where we're doing a lot. So we started playing in the city like February 2022, I think was the first show, and then playing in places like Mercury Lounge and like Sultan Room in
Yeah, I went to
Brooklyn.
see you guys.
Yeah, yeah, you came to
Yeah.
Mercury Lounge. Yeah, so we've
So
been
take a
playing
look
it
at
like
this, guys. Here's a picture of.
oh, there we
You'll
go.
see why there
Yeah,
she
yeah,
is.
that's
There
funny.
she
Yeah,
is.
so that's my sister in the front, and
Yeah,
that's actually I think our photographer Cam. Actually, you can see in the foreground there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, Jesse be playing everywhere, man. Like, and
yeah,
you guys travel too sometimes, don't you?
yeah. So yeah, I was actually gonna say. So we've gone. We went to Toronto last year. That was like the furthest we've gone so far. Um,
Cool.
as a band, that was last June, so almost a year ago. For like a festival, it's kind of like the counterpart to South by Southwest called North by Northeast.
Oh, wow,
Um,
I don't know about that one. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
it was a
here's
good
my
time though. It's cool.
here's
And
yeah
then
here's Nick.
yeah, so there's a guitar player Nick. So
Yeah,
yeah,
who's
so Nick
actually
and
I met through Jesse.
yeah,
I met Nick when I played with the great metal and jazz guitarist Alex Skolnick, and he
yeah,
came by the
yeah,
city vineyard to see me. But actually, Jesse came and he brought Nick, and Nick became like a student all of a sudden.
yeah.
So I'm helping Nick produce a record actually too.
I vaguely remember one time. Oh yeah. That is also cool.
Yeah,
I remember Nick like one time asking me, he's like, "Hey, you ever heard of Ron Jackson?" And I don't know. This may have been either before or maybe like right after I started taking
really.
lessons. Yeah, because I think he probably saw you in the same way, where like it came through on like a Instagram ad or something. So I think he was like, "Oh, have you seen
Hey,
this
it's
guy,
Ron
Ron
Jackson. What's
Jackson?"
going on, man?
Well, I think it's, we thought your videos were funny. I think that's how we like we thought like
Don't worry. I look funny, but
yeah. So I can't remember if that was before or after I started taking lessons with you, but I do remember him like bringing you up one time, and then yeah, so we came to your show, and then now we're both enrolled in the Ron Jackson School of Music.
yeah. So don't worry about guys. I've been keeping tabs on you.
Yeah,
I've been keeping tabs with Ron Jackson. So everybody, this is Jesse Hartstein, and check him out. He's one of my students. He plays out with a band called Monarch.
yeah. I think we're so
When
I
you're
think this
playing
is coming
next,
out next week. We have a show tonight, but I don't think this is coming out before then. But
where's that at?
it's in Brooklyn. I don't know. It seems like it might be like kind of a secret show, but it's at two.
Oh, no, so no one could come in away. So what about
Yeah.
next following week? Where
So
you
then
guys playing?
we have a show upstate next week on the 11th at Newburgh Brewing, which is up at
Oh
actually
wow,
Newburgh.
Newburgh.
So
Oh, that
yeah,
sounds like a good place
going
to
back
drink.
to our roots. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So hopefully some of my upstate friends from from high school show up.
So,
Um,
so that's great. So please, do you have like your own like Facebook page or anything like that to follow you on?
yeah, you can follow. I have another band. We're not nearly as established. We've been working on the same album for like 3 years now. It's very lo-fi and very low production. We did everything ourselves, and all the
Oh, cool.
recording,
Like
mixing.
me.
Exactly, we do it all. Yeah, the recording, the mixing, the mastering, the writing, all that shit. It's relatively experimental.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and kind of weird.
Cool.
It's called Midair Bust. Is the band. I don't know if I've ever shown you. I'll show you one of our songs. You might like.
Yeah,
it.
I never heard about this band. So
Yeah,
you're trying to
most
hide
people
that from me,
haven't.
huh?
Yeah. It's it's a work in progress. But when we drop our album, in the next 10 years, it'll be nice. But yeah, so we had that. It's Midair
Cool.
Bust on. I think it's just Midair Bust on Instagram, and then at Monarch the band NY on Instagram as well.
Yeah, so
And then
I appreciate you coming on the show, and
of course,
you know what, everybody. So definitely follow Jesse, and if you want to be on the show too, let me know. My patrons and students, anybody, it'd be great to have you. It's my new show. I'm going to be keeping tabs on you.
Yeah, you should have Nick on next.
I will. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Get some water. And I've been talking too much, but you want to play us something out before you finish up?
Yeah, let me see if I have something here.
So hey everybody, if you want to join my referral program on Patreon, remember I give you a free half-hour lesson for anybody you refer to my Patreon who joins for a year at the $9 level and up, and you get 10% off for that as well. They get 10% off, and you get a free lesson, and they also get a free lesson half hour. Okay, that's a $75 value. Also, you could join my Patreon for 1 week and try it out right now at patreon.com/Ron Jackson Music. And you can also study with me privately, like Jesse does. Who comes every 2 weeks actually, and tries, and he's really improved a lot.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you, being my student, Jesse.
Of
And it's great fun. And you go check him out. I went to go see him play too. You had a few beers and got drunk and watched him play.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna
So
grab.
what?
I have Moonlight Vermont transcription in the other room. I'm just gonna
Oh,
grab it real
cool.
quick. Just
Okay,
give me one
okay. Let me
second.
play you something while he's doing that, everybody. So hey, everybody. So while Jesse's going to get this other music, I'm gonna be playing. Well, actually, you're gonna miss it tonight because this is coming out later. But I'm playing at. If you're watching right now, some people are watching this on my Patreon live right now, or unlisted. I'm gonna be playing at the Django tonight in New York City, 7:30 p.m. It's gonna be a great band with some young musicians I'm using. Um, Bar Filipowitz on the bass and Zach Alderman on the drums. We're going to be playing some original music off my new. I have a new album. It's actually it's an EP called Daydreaming. I made my debut last week at the Puffin Cultural Forum in Teaneck, New Jersey, and I have 3 new tunes that feature Winnard Harper on the drums and Pat Bianchi on the organ, who's I actually play with one of my guitar teachers, Mr. Pat Martino. So come check it out, and I hope to see you guys. So Jesse's gonna play us one song to end the program. Thanks for being a guest, Jesse, and
Of
we
course.
really appreciate you. And I'm gonna be featuring all my students and patrons who want to be on my show, and colleagues that work with me in the music field, and not all these famous people like George Benson, because he might not come on the show anyway. He'll go,
Good
"Who
try.
are
I mean,
you?
give him a
Who are
call,
you,
anyways.
dude?" Okay, great. So
All right.
Jesse's gonna
So
play us a song.
I was going to do Moonlight in Vermont, which I would say is kind of like the first sort of the Johnny Smith arrangement. So I would say that was kind of like the first jazz guitar song that kind of got me into wanting to play jazz guitar, which I do know most of it off the top of my head, but I can't find the music. So I have a Tenderly
Sure.
arrangement instead. So I'll play a little bit of that, I
Yeah.
guess.
Move back just a little bit so we can see all those flying
Yeah, let me
fingers.
see. How's that? A little bit better. See
Okay,
that?
cool. Yeah. Yeah, good.
So I'll play this real quick. I have the music in front of me, which is for full disclosure. I do have the notation, but I do have the tab, so
Wow,
you
cool.
can you can just probably
I can't
guess which
read
one
that.
I'm
I can't
reading.
read that anyway.
It's tough. All right. Is that loud enough?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yay!
Needs a little bit of work, but it's a tough one. So I mean, if anybody
Yeah,
out there,
that's tough, man. That's tough.
you want to learn
That's
some
great, man.
some hard chords, Johnny
Yeah.
Smith is your guy. 'Cause that's
So thank you,
a lot of
Jesse, for
stretching
being on
there.
the show, man. I appreciate it, man. And you
Yeah, of
did a
course.
great
Thanks for
job.
having me. Yeah,
Your
thank you.
first is this your first live interview?
Yeah, oh yeah, by far.
Oh yeah. Good. Yes, this is my first live
Yeah,
interview
right.
too.
You think people would be jumping at the opportunity to have me on, but it's
Yeah, so
a busy schedule.
so pretty soon Rick Beato is going to be introducing you
Yeah,
soon too.
Rick Beato, Rick Rubin, Jimmy
So you
Kimmel.
can be exposed. You can be exposed to
Yeah,
millions
exactly.
of people.
Yeah,
So thank you, everybody. So
yeah, of course.
so check out the podcast, and we'll see you guys soon. And thanks, Jesse Hartstein, for being on my show. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Ron Jackson, RonJacksonMusic.com, and Ron Jackson at Patreon.com, and Ron Jackson Music. And thanks, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon. Okay, bye bye.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you, Jesse.
Take it easy.